Hello my friends, Paul here in the RoJoBe Music Workshop and welcome to part 7 of the Irish tenor banjo project. Okay, so in the previous episode I had finished inserting the fret dot markers, and off camera I had then cut all of the frets to length and nipped off the end of the tang underneath. And then in the sixth episode, I was fitting the frets, which are now all in. And since fitting them off camera, you see how lovely that fretboard is, and that's not even oiled yet. I really love this fretboard. Sorry, what was I saying? Yeah, off camera. I've been doing quite a bit of work to these frets, getting the sharp ends filed away and all smooth and everything. Now, as I said, because I'm left-handed, it's going to be my right hand up and down the fretboard here. So I wanted this edge to be, the best. Although, I mean, they both need to be good, but this one is more important because with my hand up and down here, if I've got any sharp edges here, it's not going to be very nice. And I've completely done all of that side. So I'm going to show you the process that I did, because on this side I've done some of the frets, but I've left the first three I haven't done yet, and I'm going to show you how I do those. Actually do the ends of the frets individually and then finish the whole thing. So I'm going to try and show you a close-up of before and after. I'm not sure how well you're going to see it. So this edge is not finished. If we look at the first three frets here, yeah, it's quite difficult to see. See, the ends of them are kind of square, and they've got sort of little edges on them both sides. So that's before, and that is after. Again, I'm not quite sure how well you can see that, but if the end of the frets kind of slope downwards towards the edge of the fretboard, the little sort of corner bits have been taken off and it's all smoothed out. So I'm going to show you how I go about this process. So let's just try to think the best way to set this up. And I'm just going to show you how I do the frets individually and then finish the whole thing. Right, so we're working here. Let's just zoom in. Yeah, it's not the best camera angle, but I think we'll be okay. Right, I need a little extra light. Right, so I'm first of all working just on the ends of the frets. And to each end, both sides of the fret have a little sort of sharp edge on them, so I've got to take those off. So I'm using a small file, and it's flat both sides, and this edge has a cutting edge as well, but the opposite edge is smooth. So that side I'm going to be putting against the fretboard so that I don't, scratch it and score it up. So what I need to do is, with the file on the side of the end of the fret, I'm kind of going forward and then tilting over like that and around, so that I'm kind of trying to round off the edges like that. So I've got to be really careful not to score the fretboard. So I'm going at an angle, not quite 45 degrees, and as I go forward I'm going around and over to round off those edges. Both sides. So yeah, well, I mean, when you cut the frets and you sort of file the angle back, you do end up with like corner bits you've got to take off, because those are the bits that catch on your fingers and very uncomfortable. So yeah, as I said, I'm going forward with the file and going around the edge and sort of over the top as well to try and get it nicely rounded. not bad. Okay, that's that one. Doesn't need much. Just literally just taking off the little sharp edges. And with steel frets, this is quite a job to do. But most frets, like these ones, they're nickel, much softer metal, much easier to work with. Not as hard wearing or long lasting as the steel frets, but as I said, they're much easier to work with initially. I personally don't think you really need steel frets. I mean, for sure, like I said, these will wear down quicker than steel frets, and you know, if it's an instrument you play a lot, you may have to have, you know, new frets after some time. But obviously, you know, if you take your instrument to a professional luthier, they're going to do the job, and you'll you know, never know that the frets have been out. Am I a professional? Well, I mean, I'm self-taught. I've been doing this for quite a few years, and you know, I've noticed even myself how much I've improved over the years. Every time I do a job like this, you get a little bit better. It's the same as learning anything, you know, the more you do it, the better you get, obviously. But I've had no official professional training. I've literally taught myself. I mean, YouTube is a great resource for learning techniques, and I do watch a lot of YouTube videos, and you know, that's how I started to learn the techniques. But you develop your own techniques and your own style of doing things. A little bit more off the top edge of that first one. And that one. Okay. Yeah, so they're all pretty good now. So let me just zoom out a little bit. Oh yeah, that's in. So what I need to do now is go over the whole edge, you know, kind of like this on a 45-degree angle with sandpaper to, you know, to finish this off. So I've got 3 grits of sandpaper here. I've got 400, 600 and 1000. So I'll go over it with the 400 first, all the way over this edge. And what the 400 will do is it will take off any last little sharp bits on the edges and ends of the frets. It will, you know, start to remove all of the last bits of the sharp edges with the 400, and then go over it again with and also that will, you know, put a little bit of a bevel on the edge of the fretboard, so that it's more rounded than, you know, a 90-degree corner. So the 400 will take off all the last little bit sharp bits of the frets and put a bevel on the edge of the fretboard. The 600 will then start to smooth the edges, and you know, it will smooth the edge of the fretboard as well. And then the 1000, you go over the ends with the 1000, and that basically polishes them up. So the 400 removes the last of the sharp bits, the 600 will smooth the ends, and then the 1000 will basically polish them. So it's easier just to go all the way up and down the fretboard, try to keep it all even. And you can sort of go a little bit sort of to the top there to get the edges of the frets, and then a little bit over the side here to get the very ends. Is that the 400? Feels a bit fine, but it's fine. And yeah, this does make a little bit of a mess of the fretboard, but you know, I'll clean it up one more time once I've done this before oiling it. But because it's new wood and the new frets, you know, it's not going to be too bad. I've got a brush here somewhere. There we go. Just brush off the dust. See how we're looking. Yeah, that's starting to look really good already. Just down this end I need to do a bit more. Looking good. Yeah, that's getting nice now. A little bit more with the 400. Just to make sure we get all of those nasty little sharp edges off. That's nice. Okay, a little bit more that end still. That's better. Go over the whole thing again. Okay, right, so that's the 400 done, and I'll go on to the 600, and that's going to start to smooth things out now. Very good. Just going to go more sort of over the top of it, because they still feel a little bit sharp in places on the top, not so much on the edge now, but sort of more on the top. Oh yes, that's getting good now. Really good. Okay, right, I think that'll do with the 600. Just double check. Nice. Okay, so now to the 1000, and this will really polish up the ends of those frets now. And not that you'll see them, but you know, any scratch marks you get from the coarser grits, this 1000 will take those out. A little bit more. Okay, so that's just about done. And what I can see now, looking at these, the ends of the frets, this side and this side, are nice and shiny, but the middle, a little bit dull. So I'm going to go over the whole of the top of the frets now with the 1000, just to polish those up. And yeah, like I said, it will, you know, scuff the fretboard up a little bit, but I can clean that up later, no problem. Actually, let me get my, what's on there, 3000, right, let's put that, it's my little handle for doing this. Makes it a lot easier because it keeps everything flat and level. And actually this will reduce the amount of scuffing on the fretboard as well. I don't know why I didn't just put this on. Wow, beautiful. Right, final brush off. See how that feels now. Oh yeah, absolutely perfect. Really happy with that. So yeah, you can probably see now that the fretboard is a little bit scuffed. I'm just gonna make sure I brush off all the dust first. And I'm going to go over that with some isopropyl alcohol, and that should remove most of that. And if it doesn't, I can always, you know, give it a clean later with the single edge razor blade, which you've seen me do before. So let's just try this first. Like I said, it should remove most of it. And the other thing with this wood is the colour is coming out all of the time. So the more I do this with the alcohol, the more that's going to reduce that. Right, let's find a dry bit of cloth, just dry that off and see how it looks. That's not so dry. Yeah, that seems to have removed most of that already, which is great, and the fretboard is looking amazing now. Just give that one more wipe over with the alcohol. Okay, put that to one side. So that's the frets done, which is awesome. Or the fretboard, I should say. And yeah, like I said, it's looking really good, and that's not even oiled yet. Once that's oiled, the wood will darken a little bit, and you know, it will really make it look nice. So the next job I need to do now is I've already fitted the fret dot markers, but now I want to fit the side dot markers. Sometimes I don't do this for my instruments, but I'm going to on this one, because this is going so nicely. I just want to make sure that I do everything. And I've already pre-drilled the holes for the side dot markers, and off camera I did put one in already. Can you see that? Where are we? Right there. So I've already put one in, quite small and subtle, but I like that. And what I'm using actually is cocktail sticks, or toothpicks if you prefer. And I'm using these, you know, they're just cocktail sticks. I'm using these because why not? First of all, they're readily available. Secondly, they seem to be perfectly round. The diameter is small and subtle, which I like. So just there. And you know, the colour contrast is nice, because these are very pale in colour against this, you know, sort of red, let's say red wood. And I personally think the contrast is nice. So let's proceed to put the rest of these in. So yeah, I've got the cocktail sticks. I've got my thinned down Tight Bond Original glue. As you know, it's a bit watered down, so it's thinner, which for these very small holes is better. I've got my fret saw to cut them off once they're in, and I've got a little baby hammer to help me to put them in. So rather than putting the glue in the hole, I'm putting the glue around the edge of the stick first, and really only needs a tiny smear, just like the fret dot markers. Doesn't need a lot. It's already too much, and it's barely even a drop. Okay, so into the hole, and I've drilled these holes probably about 2 millimeters deep, maybe 2.5. Get my hammer and just tap it in, and I can feel and hear that that's now bottomed out. So I'll just get a bit of cloth to wipe that glue off. And using this fret saw, I'm going right flush up against the side of the fretboard there, just very gently, putting very little pressure on it. Cut through that. You know, I don't want to score the fretboard, and I don't want to rush this and pull it out. And because it's only, I mean, these things are not even 2 mil thick, so it doesn't take long to get through them. And I think also these ones, because we're in Asia, I think these ones are made of bamboo. In fact, yeah, I can see these are made of bamboo. Right, so just gently cut that off. Yeah, and I have scored the neck a little bit there, but that will come out. So just take this hammer again, just to make sure that's as far in as it's going to go. And you can barely feel it, so that's good. So I'm going to use my 400 grit sandpaper again, just to smooth the top of that off. And also take out that little score mark I've put on the neck. And back to the alcohol, because this red wood, it still creates a lot of dust. Just let that dry a bit. Where is it? Just there. And yeah, that finishes off rather nicely. So I'm going to be a little bit more careful now. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, as soon as I find it, run a bit of masking tape down here so I don't do that again. I mean, you know, it's come out, but I don't want to mark that again. I'm just going to run a bit of masking tape down the side of the neck underneath the fretboard. Okay. So let me just see if I can just tidy that up a bit more where I marked that neck. I mean, you won't even be able to see it, so I'm not going to try and show you. That's got it. There we go. That's got it. Okay, so I'll put that tape down there to prevent that from happening again. And before I try to put this in again, I'm just going to sand the edge over. So that I know it'll go in the hole. Bit of glue. How are we doing for time? Oh my goodness, really? Okay. Don't know if you heard that, but as that bottoms out, the tone changes. So I know when it's bottomed out. Right. Let's just cut that one off. Where's my 400? Where have I put that? Oh, there it is. Okay. Let's clean that up. Nice. Okay. So I've now done 3. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more to do. Little jab of glue. Yeah, so listen to when I tap this in with the hammer, how the tone changes once it bottoms out. So I'm just going to leave it a little bit high there. So listen carefully. I don't know if you will hear it. Yeah, you probably couldn't really tell that from my microphone. Alcohol. Oi. Okay. On to the next one. Right, I'm just about to run out of time on the video, so I'm going to finish that off camera. You see what I'm doing, and once I finish that, there's not much more to do on this neck. What I will have to do is give the whole thing a final sanding to a very fine grit so it's lovely and smooth, and then I need to laser engrave the headstock, then oil the whole thing. So I'm going to do the fretboard itself with boiled linseed oil and do the rest of it with Danish oil to get a nice satin finish eventually, and then fit the tuners, and then that will be done. So onwards and upwards. I've still got to fit the head, the skin to the head yet. So, okay. In the meantime, please look after yourselves, look after each other. We will see you soon. Peace out.